Hi folks, I'm Matt and welcome to My Expanded Universe, a show where I go through the entire EU in chronological order as best I know how. A little fun story about this shirt, Star Wars Episode 1. I actually won this on a radio contest back in the day in '99, where the internet, you couldn't just look something up real quick and answer the question. They used to have quizzes on the radio and you called in and won a prize. And no one was guessing it, so I just called in different voices and using all my buddies' names. I got like 5 t-shirts, 4 caps, and like 3 backpacks. I gave them all away, but I kept one of each. I still have all 3. I still have my shirt, cap, and backpack that I use every once in a while. But anyway, you don't want to hear about that. That's not cool. You know who is cool? Han Solo. He's cool. And there was no author that made him sound cooler than Brian Daley, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. It is the Brian Daley Star Wars Trilogy. Now, just like Lando, except without the roguish garb, I want to tackle each one of these books separately in a video. And so, of course, that being the case, the first one I got to talk about is Han Solo at Star's End. Now, in this book, Han Solo is smuggling in the corporate sector, and he's wanting to upgrade the Millennium Falcon. So he strikes a deal with Doc and Jessa, who are 2 tech outlaws, to help them run some illegal stuff. He's smuggling. He's starting to do illegal stuff so he can get some money up to upgrade the Falcon. Brian Daley, there's a lot I've got to talk about with this guy. First off, let's talk about the feel of this book. Great. He nails Han Solo. I mean, honestly, the book just feels like Han Solo. It's like you can see Harrison Ford saying these lines. You can see the movie out in front of you. You know what it's like. You're poor. You're trying to get money to build upgrades because the Falcon's, it's a piece of junk, but it's the fastest hunk of junk in the galaxy. But you got to keep it that way by doing upgrades. And so they just need money. They're just doing what they can to survive. Now, there's a lot more to this story. I'm going to try to save you from spoilers like I always do. But folks, story set aside, if it was just Han Solo and Chewbacca talking to people, making deals, and talking to each other in the cockpit, it would have been a great book. That's how good he is with Han Solo. Now, his side characters are good too. He created 2 robots who I absolutely love, Bullocks and Blue Max. And Blue Max lives inside Bullocks. Bullocks has an empty canister shell in his chest. He opens up, and Bullocks is a smaller droid. Those droids are fantastic. They are the Abbott and Costello of the Star Wars universe. Man, they have you laughing. There's so much jokes in that. In fact, I cannot remember which book it is, but it says Blue Max lets out a cuss, and Han said, "Hey, where'd you learn that word?" And he went, "Well, you say it all the time, Captain Solo." "Oh, well, don't say it anymore." It's funny. They have just like little quips like that. And the way they talk to each other and the Chewbacca and everyone. I mean, it's just so much fun. Those are some of the most well-developed, most beloved droids in the expanded universe for me. I'm thinking about this. I like Vufu Ra from the Lando Calrissian trilogy, but honestly, Bullocks and Blue Max have got to be in my top 5 as well. I think they are fantastic. Now, Brian Daley even has a quote that a lot of people talk about now, or they did in the late 90s. They didn't talk about when these books came out in the 80s, but Brian Daley loved in the movie Star Wars that Han Solo shot first. He loved that. So in the book, there's actually a line in there where he says, "I love to shoot first." That's what Han Solo says. Quote by Han Solo, he loves to shoot first. And now, of course, when the re-release came out, that was about the time I was reading it, because I read those books in about 95, 96 when the re-releases came out. They had a 3-in-1 trilogy. And I remember I bought that and was reading through them, and I read that line. And of course, like a year or so later, like 2 years later, of course, the re-release comes out and Han Solo does not shoot first. I'm like, what's going on here? Brian Daley says. I didn't say that, but I remember what Brian Daley said, and I put that on the forums. I said, Brian Daley says Han shot first, so Han shot first. I mean, it's kind of stupid now, but hey, it was really funny. It was in the book, right? Now, another thing that Brian Daley did, this is back in the early days of the expanded universe. There was not that many books, okay, out. You know, Lando, Splinter of the Mind's Eye, a few comic strips, but really, and comic books, of course, Marvel's comic books, which all that we'll talk about later. But these novels here really impacted future novels from the expanded universe. I'm not just talking about characters like legends like Zim the Despot, which everyone knows about now. Well, that came from these books. But that's not all. Turbo lifts came from here. You have things like Z95 headhunters were created by Brian Daley. That was their first appearance, was in these books. A Victoria-class Star Destroyer was first described in the expanded universe in Brian Daley's Han Solo at Star's End. The list can go on and on and on this, on stuff that he created. I'm just trying to think what else he made, but he made a lot of other things. Oh yeah, the Wookiee Life Debt. He came up with the Wookiee Life Debt. He came up with the Corellian blood stripes that Han, the pants, like, not that that needed an explanation, but he said, hey, you know what? I'm going to make those blood stripes, those little red stripes on his suit, super cool. And you know what? Mission accomplished. It was really good. He does a fantastic job building onto this world that had already been established in the movies and exploring it even further and coming up with ideas that were going to be just, they're hallmarks in the EU now, right? We know what a Z, if you've been reading the expanded universe, you know what a Victoria-class Star Destroyer is. You've heard that a million times. Z95 headhunters, you've heard that a million times. The Wookiee Life Debt, you knew that. Did you know it all originated from this book? Now, they also did a comic book version of this. I do not get the comic book versions of the novels. It's just me. I just don't. But if you like things in comic book, there's a comic book version of this. But Han Solo at Star's End, fantastic novel, and Brian Daley, fantastic author. And I'll save other things I want to talk about in the next video. See you then.